I muted my mic. Well, that was a wonderful way to start off that stream. Anyway, what's up, guys? This is Kaiser Pineapple. I am here. It is Tuesday. We are ready to get down with a little more painting on this lovely guy right here. Ready to get some more rolling. So yeah, it's getting to be one of those where I'm my voice is starting to get better. I'm sounding a lot better. It still kind of comes and goes occasionally, but I'm doing a lot better than I was and sounding pretty close to normal now. Still got to work a little bit of extra stuff out, keep stuff off the old vocal cords and whatnot, but otherwise, like I said, I'm doing great. So don't really have any complaints on that. So hope all of you all out there are having a good time and that things are going well for you. I'd say it's like I said, it's been a weird one the last several days and whatnot, and just the last since we were last on stream together. we had the major Twitter leaks. We had literally the second part just dropped today, like maybe an hour ago. Second part dropped. I'm going to let people that are far smarter than me and have a lot more patience to go over that stuff. I'm just, I have my own opinions on a lot of things, politics, religion, social stuff, that kind of thing. I have a lot of my own opinions, but that's not really what I'm here for. So, also, it's one of those things where somebody in the audience was actually live and asked me, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? I'd probably just chime in and just kind of say what I'm thinking, like what's on my mind. But yeah, overall, like I said, again, I try to keep this channel to be more laid back, fun, just relaxing. That's kind of what I do here is, when we do the painting and the stuff, we're here to just have fun and just relax, have a good time, and chill out and whatnot. Okay, so overall, I was just checking some things in the background there, seeing how everything looks on that end. All right. So, yeah, well, I guess without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it now, get started. So, let me fine tune a couple more things. All right. Okay. So, all right, we're good. So, as with most nights, I usually have some sort of beverage or libation, whatever the case may be. I've been trying to keep off the alcohol for a while there, but now that I'm feeling a little better, I'm actually trying to get a little, sneak some more back in. And so last night I actually had my monthly meeting with my old brew club. It was last month was my first official meeting back with the crew, and it was really good to see everybody. It was really cool to just kind of a lot of these guys I haven't seen for 2 or 3 years. And it seemed like just pick right back up where I left off. And you've struck gold on a really cool group of folks when you just disappear. Like, I don't like that. I'm just COVID, family, and all kinds of stuff happened, and then it's like you pick back up and you never left. So got a really cool gift. They gave out bottle koozies. So IBU Homebrew Club, that's our our homebrew club. I need to get back to brewing. I need to actually start brewing another batch here before long and try and, well, first time in years that I've actually brewed, and I'm thinking about getting back into the saddle with good old fashioned Irish stout. It's nice and cold out. Need a little bit of something to keep you warm. Although with the current temperatures being what they are, I can get away with lagering, which means I might be able to do my good old fashioned Munich Dunkel. That really, the last time I made it, Dark Side of the Moon was what I called my Munich Dunkel. It was like stout black, like for a Munich Dunkel, and at about 4.5% alcohol. So, I mean, really not bad. I mean, very easy drinking, malty, not bitter. It had that nice, crisp lager flavor to it. I really enjoyed the hell out of it, and I made only a couple very minor tweaks to the recipe, and I've been dying to brew it again. So I'm thinking I might do that, or my good old fashioned, my standby Midnight Train out of Dublin Stout. That's a classic that I've brewed several times, and everybody all my friends definitely whenever I brew that one up, they're like, okay, when you going to come over with a growler? When are you going to share some? Like, all right, guys. And whenever I started home brewing, of course, I brew like 5-gallon batches at a time, and it's amazing how much more beer I give away than I drink. And I'm glad to do it, because I would not be able to drink that much beer, in one go. I would get so bored of it really quick, and I would want to brew something else. But in the long run, how much I'm paying for brewing, stuff like materials, grains, that kind of stuff, I'd spend more just buying like a 12-pack, and I'd drink. I'd spend more money, buying, about 12, like a 12-pack or a 12 and a 6. I'd spend more money on that than I would actually buying the ingredients and making a 5-gallon batch. So, I mean, when it comes right down to it, I mean, I end up saving a lot more money than I ever spend on brewing. Then I've already got the equipment. So, I mean, I've got everything, the time and everything invested. So this actual beer tonight that I'm going to be drinking, this is actually a gift from my good buddy, Carlos. Shout out to Carlos. You the man. I am looking forward to trying this. This is his brown ale. This is his own recipe. And I've got my trusty glass. And so we're going to go and crack this baby open. We're going to, I got my 50 cal bottle opener too. Oh yeah. I'm liking that already. Carlos definitely loves his pale ales, his IPAs. He loves his hops. And I'm usually not a big hoppy beer guy. I like more malty beers and that kind of thing, but I do appreciate a properly balanced and good and well hopped beer. And this smells amazing. So I'm actually going to move my microphone slightly so we can get a nice little close up here. Yeah, it's got a nice head. Save that last little bit with the trub back. Forget that I have a koozie on this thing, so I could keep it cold. And I can't really see. Get the bottom of that. When the stuff at the bottom of the bottle tastes really good, that you're in for a treat. Yeah, I got nice brown color. Get some light over here. Yeah, nice brown color. Very light head. Oh yeah, I can smell those hops. Definitely a little fruity. I get a little pine, but not like a lot. Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is something special. Carlos, my man. Cheers. That's good. Oh yeah, I'm going to be sipping on that and enjoying that tonight. Don't get me wrong. I love Legal Vices and Nick and all those other guys. I love whiskey, but I've spent about the better part of the last 10 years, or actually more than 10 years at this point. Yeah, well over a decade at this point, as a home brewer and beer nerd. I love beer. I can't say no to beer. Oh man, that's good. That's a really nice balance of malt and hop character. The hops are just fruity enough that they get that nice kind of sweet, a little citrus on there, and then you get that really nice sweet malt flavor from the from the grains. A lot of caramel kind of flavor in there to my taste. Now, Carlos, if you're listening to this, all I can tell you is if any of this I'm saying is wrong, blame COVID and COVID throwing my taste buds off. But I'm still saying this is freaking good, man. This is really freaking good. Oh, yeah, bud. I've got to pick your brain on that recipe because I've been looking for a good brown ale. And I've got a couple recipes, but God, I haven't brewed them in so long. I don't even remember what they taste like anymore. I think the only brown ale that I can think of that I still remember the taste of was my old McTeagle's Scottish Heavy. And that had a really good character to it, a really good flavor. I can remember that one. But yeah, that's about the only brown ale that I remember brewing that I can remember the taste of. But this is good. Thursday. This coming Thursday, that's going to be the 8th. I do have another special gift bottle. This from another guy in my homebrew club. The the never to be underestimated and never never to be taken entirely seriously. Keith, he hooked me up with a bottle of his raspberry porter, which I am thoroughly looking forward to his raspberry porter. I don't know how Keith drinks, or like if Keith drinks as much beer as he makes, because I swear the guy is making another 5-gallon batch like every weekend. And I'm like, bro, how much are you drinking and how much are you giving away and what is going on? But my buddy Keith, he is a very big proponent, and so am I, of Belgian beers. And I want to learn so much from Keith on how to make Belgian beers because he has mastered Belgian styles. And I love Belgian beers, especially doubles, triples. Love those. In 2017, I made well, without going into specifics of how I came across this recipe, let's just say I met someone who had a recipe and they let me copy their notes. But they got a recipe for a Belgian dark strong ale that they actually got from a monk in a Belgian monastery that taught him his recipe for a Belgian dark strong ale. And he let me copy his notes. And I'm like, I want this recipe so bad. And I brewed it. I brewed the recipe in 2017. I still have I think 2 bottles, maybe 3 bottles left. And they're like these big, tall bombers as well. And it's like, I slightly over-carbonated it. So it's a little explosive. And by that, I mean the bottles could potentially explode if I tried to open them. But it was so delicious whenever I had it there. I somehow managed apparently to get a heavy enough gravity and a voracious enough yeast and kept it going for quite a while. This beer is tipping the scales at a 12% alcohol. This stuff will kick you in the damn teeth. But, it was so good. I really want to brew that recipe again because I want to brew it and I want to make sure that this time whenever I brew it and bottle it, that I don't create bottle bombs or basically make bottle grenades because that was a bit oopsie on my part. Always check your priming sugar and make sure you don't put too much priming sugar in there. All right, so we're almost 20 minutes in and I still haven't picked up a paintbrush. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's get rolling. Yeah, this is just one of my other hobbies. Yeah, beer has been my mainstay hobby for a long time. So I get talking about beer stuff. I kind of go and go and go. I've grown hops. I've made beer. I used to be able to dream up, recipes in my sleep. It's crazy. I've still got all my old recipes and everything. Yeah, I've got some winners in there, and I've actually got one that actually got a judge. I actually scored from a judge panel a 30 out of 50, which was my first time with that beer. And it was actually my midnight train out of Dublin. And I took the notes from the judges, and now I've gone ahead and actually applied them. So that's part of the reason why I'm thinking about brewing that batch up again and getting another run of that particular brew up. But yeah, so let's get to it. And tits and ray guns. Thought I briefly stopped and control. You. Pineapple. Hey man, I say we're actually just sitting here talking a beer and my background in home brewing, that kind of thing. For the moment, we're actually just about to get to some painting and everything. I've got my Warforged Titan all ready to go. We're about to get started on it, but hey, hang out as long as you can if you want or what. But good to see you dropping by. Love to see anybody drop, by the channel and just hang out for a bit. So, all right. So let's get rolling. I'm going to go ahead and tilt the camera down, and we are going to get started here. Adjust my camera so my OCD doesn't have a, coronary. There we go. Kind of maneuver everything around, figure out where we want to start today. All right. So I got my trusty daughter out here. It's actually a kind of a silicone rubber tip, good for making little dots on things. And as you can probably see, or maybe not, yep, there we go. You can see all those nice little rivets that we've got to go back and we've got to add a splash of color on. So right now we're doing just detail work. We're trying to get this thing all nice and spiffy. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're going to have plenty more to do on this. And let's see. Let's figure out what we want here. I got a couple of options that I can go with. Obviously, since this is kind of a bronze or brass color, I want some like a different kind color of rivets. And I've already done some copper, but I don't want to do too much. So looking at either chrome, gunmetal, nice dark, and some steel. Let's see. Always remember to paint work guns red so they shoot faster. Yep. Well, I have not actually done any Warhammer 40K figures or anything like that. And I don't have any orcs, but I could be tempted and persuaded to go that way. These are some minis for my D&D campaign that I'm running. But I've got enough going on with my campaigns and I'm doing and whatnot that I probably have enough to keep me occupied in minis for probably years to come. So let's go ahead and get just a little dab of steel there. And let's get rolling. Get my dotting brush here, and we're just going to hit these one at a time. Very quick, very easy. There we go. All right. Back when I had more time, I painted mechs from the original board game. Oh, okay. So are you actually talking about like BattleTech? Oh yes, BattleTech. Yes, that was the shit whenever I was a kid, and I freaking loved it. I did not have the money to get into it whenever it was really big, and I mean, really, it wasn't until I really didn't get into mini painting until my 30s, unfortunately. So it was one of those where I had always seen it and I'd always wanted to get into it, but it was never really there. Nowadays, with 3D printing and everything, I would love to get my hands on a 3D printer so I could get some, make some BattleTech minis and actually get some mechs going, because I freaking love that and I wanted so badly. None of the clan mech nonsense for me. So you're all strictly pre 3060. I gotcha. Okay. Between BattleTech and like the Mech Warrior games and everything. I freaking loved those as a kid. I mean, of course, I'm also a big flight sim nerd. I love flight sims and that kind of thing. So when I actually, have had the chance to play like the various mech games that have come out, I freaking love those because of course, especially now as an adult, I have the disposable income. So I have a nice HOTUS set up so I can, do all that. I freaking love mechs and BattleTech and everything. It's just so much fun. Yeah, not gonna lie though, I did not have a chance to really get into the real heavy stuff, and I really wanted to. One of my memories from when I was a teenager, me and some buddies went to a game store near our home. It was a place in Greenwood called the Game Preserve. I think it's still there, and they had like a whole back room set up, so that way some of the store guys and some friends of theirs, they could come and they could play their various games and whatnot. And they had a BattleTech set up like you wouldn't freaking believe back there, like hand built, whole giant like battlefield and everything. It was so badass. And then we got there one night. We would just happen to see them. We're like, hey, what, just kind of listening in. And so basically they had been going at it for 4 hours or so, trying to figure out all the mathematical calculations, because one guy in their group was doing like a 1v1, and the guy was in a Jenner and actually had hit his jump jets, and then was actually coming down and impacting on the other mech. If I stutter a little bit, it's because I'm trying to do two things at once, and I can multitask to a certain extent, but But anyway, yeah. So his Jenner came down on top of this mech, and I swear I think it was like a hunchback or something. And so they're all like working out the damage and rolling the dice and everything, and man, it just looked like so much fun. Closest to a flight sim for me was F-15 Strike Eagle on the Commodore 64. Oh, yikes. Yeah, that was before me. I said, it sounds like fun though. See, I currently have logged about 5,000 flight hours in the space sim game Elite Dangerous. I freaking love that game. I kind of fell into it at the appropriate time because I got into it, and yeah, right at the beginning of the pandemic. 55-ton rifleman was my favorite mech. You cannot go wrong with a good rifleman mech. You really cannot. See, honestly, one of my go-tos that I really enjoyed the heck out of, at least, in the computer sim game of, Mech Warrior and whatnot, because again, I didn't get a chance to really do BattleTech too much. I freaking loved the Bushwhacker, and I know that it kind of gets a little bit of, too much rapport, but I really freaking love that mech. It's very versatile, and it's always got it's got the nice little setup. You got the ability to swap over some of your hard points and whatnot. Again, I'm trying to multitask here, so if I'm getting something wrong, I apologize. But yeah, Bushwhacker was one of my favorites, at least in the medium class. I did drive a Hunchback a couple of times in medium class on the games, and I did enjoy that a lot because the Hunchback Nothing says screw you like a LBX AC-20. That was a Hatchman variant. The Bushwhacker was not a Hatchetman variant. I trust me, I wish that they had the Hatchetman in that game because that would have been badass. I would have loved to be able to actually use the melee attack on that, but I don't think they ever added the Hatchetman to the video game versions because they never really found a way to make that mechanic work. And they kind of knew from the outset that if they included a mech that has a literal axe and they didn't figure out how to use it, it was not going to be pretty. The reviews that they got on that, which, I understand. I can respect their decision to not include that if that was going to be the case. Okay, get a little bit more here. God, the amount of freaking bolts and screws in this, in this thing is ridiculous, but it makes sense. So I think I've mentioned it in one of the other streams, but I really didn't go too far over it. This particular thing that I'm working on is the Warforged Titan. So in D&D, they had specifically the Eberron expansion to D&D. They had these this new species called the Warforged, and basically the Warforged are kind of almost like a cross between almost like a sentient robot, but they're not really robots. It's complicated in that regard, but they purposely left a lot of things ambiguous to that. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get this axe blade because I have a little bit of paint here, and we had talked about doing that before. So get that nice two-tone effect. There we go. That's one side. Okay. Got that in there. All right. Now I like that two-tone look. So you get that nice little depth of the blade. It's got that darker kind of outer steel, which is supposed to, in metallurgy, whenever you're making an axe blade anyway, you have that nice kind of darker, like more tempered steel on the outside, and you have a milder steel on the outside of both sides, and you have a harder steel in the middle, sandwiched between. That's good for edge retention and splitting and everything. All right, we're going to touch up a couple areas, specifically right here on this hatchet, so that way I can go through and do a little dry brushing on here, do a little more work here. We're almost running out of the steel, so those, we're kind of getting through. So, weren't those computer games called MechWarrior? Yes, they were. They were called MechWarrior. MechWarrior 5 came out. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries came out a couple of years ago. It actually went back pre clan invasion. I remember that much. Because pretty much, I know MechWarrior 3 was actually during the clan wars, and you were supposed to actually be an Inner Sphere drop team that drops in like right into clan space, and use guerrilla warfare to strike blows at them from there to help stop their conquest of the Inner Sphere. Mech Warrior 4, there was Mech Warrior 4 Vengeance, and then Mech 4 Vengeance. There was the Black Knight expansion, and then they also had Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries. The one I played was in the late 90s. Mech Warrior 3 would have been late 90s. You might also have caught the tail end of Mech Warrior 2 or Mech Warrior 2 Mercenaries. Mech Warrior 3 was pretty good. I mean, it was the graphics of the time, but it was actually pretty good. I liked it a lot. It crashed like hell, though. It did not sell very well because the game was kind of had some bugs. It crashed all the time. I think that they've since been able to patch it and fix it so you can run it on Windows 10 now, but I just have not gotten my hands on that one. But yeah, Mech Warrior 4, if you can find it anymore, because that one was everywhere for a long time, and then FASA got bought out or went under, and then they ended up getting some other company called Mech Tech to produce it. It was like some Russian company for a while, and the whole story behind Mech Warrior and the licensing was freaking weird. But I know that eventually they had to take Mech Tech and all that stuff down because the rights got sold back to another company here in the United States, which is where Mech Warrior 5 came from. You can still find Mech Warrior 4 out there, and it's still a pretty viable game. It has its flaws, but overall, it's fun, and the story is actually pretty decent. Because Mech Warrior 4, the original, Mech Warrior 4 Vengeance, as it's called, kind of deals with you're a mech pilot who's also a fighter for the Davians or something like that, and actually, I think it was the Davians. And, of course, Katrina Steiner Davian takes over, and that's a whole shit show. And, things kind of go tits up from there. So, I remember that was a big thing. I have not yet gotten my hands on or played Mech Warrior 5. My brother has it. He says it's pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but then again, he's in more recent years become more of an RTS guy. So I mean, not that his taste is any, is not good or anything. It's just I don't think he ever caught the sim bug like I did, because I kind of Sims have just become my thing, like simulators. So there's that. All right, we're getting just a little touch here. I need to adjust my camera just a smidge there so I can get a better view of everything. Yeah, that's better. Scoot this forward just a nudge more. Beats that new Mech Warrior game that plays like World of Tank. It's truly awful. Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. I don't know if it has any actual connection to the original Mech Warrior BattleTech franchises. I could be wrong. I've heard of one out there like Mech Arena or something like that. Yeah, it's just the mobile game arcade, bullshit. And yeah, I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Of course, then again, I just have an aversion to mobile games anyway because I'm like, yeah, I'm an adult. I don't need mobile games. I can find ways to occupy my time, without that. Gaming for me is something that I do at night, relax, have a beer, sit back, kids in bed, don't have to worry about anything. And I can just play whatever. I mean, I do everything from like I said, flight sims, Doom, all the classics. Kind of depends on what my fancy is. Right now, I'm actually going through and I've been so Elite Dangerous just recently unveiled their new update 14 and some new stuff in like the human Thargoid War, which is the alien race in the game that you can fight. And honestly, the whole storyline, the way that they presented it, just kind of, I was like, okay, there's no consistency to it because at first they're like, oh yeah, so Thargoids are all bad. We hate them. They're always attacking us. They're always stealing our systems and causing massive damage and everything. And like, so Thargoid combat became like a really big thing. And then they were like, okay, we're going to fight this Thargoid war and we're going to stop these guys and we're going to do all the stuff and fight them. And I'm like, okay, let's do this shit. And then we did. And then literally on my freaking birthday, the last, what we had all been building towards the entire time in update 13 dropped. And turns out that, oh no, everything that we've been doing everything that we've been doing all went kablooey, blew up in our faces. And all those people that did all this stuff and like helped to build this thing and whatnot, they're all bad now. And I'm like, okay, y'all wanted me to do this, and now you're saying that I was a shithead for doing it. And then, immediately the Thargoids wage war on us, and they like come back with a vengeance. And now they're like, oh yeah, we're so sorry that we told you that you suck. Could you please come back and save our asses now? And I'm like, really? You know what? Screw you. I got no time for this shit. I'll probably come back to the game at some point, but I'm just kind of like right now, I'm like, nah, screw you guys. I'm just going to I'm going to catch up on some other games, replay some old classics, have a good old time. And, I'll come back to it when I'm ready. But Elite Dangerous was the competition for EVE Online. Evo as a whole, I don't have time for anymore. I've heard a lot of people say that. I tried to play EVE Online one time, and I don't think I got past the tutorial before I said, this game is not for me. And whenever when I first got Elite Dangerous, I got it on sale, on a Steam sale or something like that. And I realized very quickly that I really needed a joystick to play this game if I was going to have any chance of enjoying it. And you can play keyboard and mouse and all that, and it is playable, or that, or a controller. But again, I'm a bit of a flight sim nerd and a bit of a purist, so I needed to have a joystick for mine. I found an old joystick in a thrift store and, got that thing up and running. And I enjoyed the hell out of that until I was able to go ahead and buy a Thrustmaster T16000M HOTUS. And I freaking love that thing. All right, I'm going to hit these dots again right here. Boom, boom. I saw your message there, buddy, and I will be right there in just a sec. I just got to hit these dots real quick. And then I got to clean up my friggin' mess because apparently I am not doing so hot on my targeting. Touch up the air. There we go. All right, good as that's going to get for the moment. I'm going to need to let that dry just a smidge. Well, yeah, work around the outside there. Got that in. Get one more dot here. Bada bing. That's much better. All right, leave that to set and dry for a sec. Yeah, but anyway, I heard a lot of people say that EVE Online was basically going to be like, the next big time sink compared to Elite. And honestly, I don't really believe it that much, just because Elite's just so much different. And I like the way that it's set up. And of course, I got my VR headset, and oh yeah, that game in VR it's freaking amazing. All right, give it a chance. I'd recommend the original Homeworld. Great mechanics, excellent story. Okay. I will definitely keep an eye out for that. I'm always on the lookout for new games, especially stuff that interests me. Man, this thing's freaking good. I don't know if you were here whenever I poured this one out, but I belong to a homebrew club, and yeah, there's our logo. Yeah, IBU Homebrew Club. And so we had a Christmas party / bottle exchange last night. And yeah, I walked away with a couple of bottles of good homebrew from some good friends of mine. This actually is a American brown ale that is made by my buddy Carlos. So got a nice little hop character to it, but nice and malty. It's really good. If you go back to the beginning of the recording of the stream, yeah, I kind of go through a little bit more of like my background with home brewing and beer and that kind of stuff in general, because I got into it. I say everything that I'm doing right now with minis and stuff like that was basically what I did with home brewing and beer back in the day. So now I'm trying to get back into both of them a bit more, trying to be more active. So, good times. Okay. Oh, IN. I get it now. Yes. Yes, that is correct. In Germany, I had a dark clove beer that I've been trying to replicate for years. I can believe it. And I love German beers, but especially I love Belgian beers. And I've got a really good Munich Dunkel that, like as far as German beers that I have like in my repertoire go, I mean, I've got a really good Munich Dunkel that I really love to brew. It is like stout black, but it is so good. And I mean, I'm thinking dark clove beer because Germany's got those purity laws, so you can't put actual clove in beer. So I'm trying to think, and what keeps coming to my mind is something like a Hefeweizen. But if it's dark, maybe it's more of a Dunkelweiss. That would make more sense to me, as that would be a Dunkelweiss. Yeah, kind of a darker color, and kind of more of a medium brown, sort of like what I got in my glass here. Yeah, that with a nice kind of clove taste. Yeah, it sounds like something that you would get probably more from a combination of the malt and the hops that would provide that. Sounds like it's right up my alley. Yeah, I was a serious beer nerd, and I actually got some awards and stuff like that during my time doing it. And I say it was just, unfortunately, with COVID and all that, we all kind of, we couldn't go to bottle share anymore. So now that we can and all that, we're getting back to it. Dunkelweiss sounds like, yep, I would say sounds about, like the case. I do like to make a really good, Hefeweiss that the Hefeweiss that I really like to make a lot of times, it comes out of the fermenter tasting almost like banana bread. It's got this unique flavor thanks to the hops. Or not the hops, the yeast, because the yeast is what gives you that flavor. And you have to watch it to get that particular flavor. But yeah, I've made a couple Hefes, and that was the banana bread one that I made just tasted amazing. Smooth out some little wrinkles that I saw in here. There we go. Actually, COVID really didn't affect our home brewing group because we just moved to the meetings to my ranch. You have much more room in that case than I do, and yeah, there was our crew. We all have excuse me. So we have a kind of a contract. Well, not really a contract, but we have a agreement with a actual brewery in our area that allows us to have our bottle shares there. We used to have them at a homebrew store that was owned by one of our buddies, but his business went under, and his business went under pre-COVID actually, and some things happened that kind of just there was a lot going on at that time, so it was not really something that we had an opportunity to really explore. And unfortunately, none of us at the time had any kind of like land. So yeah, we couldn't just move it, there. But trust me, if I had a ranch, oh boy, it would have been on. But yeah, congratulations to you on that, because that some of the best group of guys that I know. We're all home brewers, and it absolutely just tore a bunch of us up that we couldn't get together, for almost 2 years. I mean, I had the additional double whammy of my kid was born like right there at the tail end of the first year of lockdown. So things kind of got a little crazy, and yeah, I had other priorities besides beer on my mind at the time. Oh, goodness. Central Wyoming, so the mandates really didn't hit here. Yeah, lucky you, because they sure as hell hit us here in central Indiana. Yeah. Everybody was freaking out at the time, and I was just kind of like, all right, well, I've still got shit to do, so all right, whatever. I'm going to keep doing what I usually do, and I'm going to, keep living my life, because I'm not going to, sit around out here and wait for this. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the sky to fall. I'm actually going to get out there. I still got shit to do. Say if I'm not doing stuff, then nothing's getting done. So I might as well just hang a sense of it. Just keep on trucking. You know what I mean? All right. Let's see here. And get a little bit of red in here. The awkward part is getting back here behind everything. Part of the reason why I chose a brush that has a little bit longer bristles, just because I can get a little bit more line control that way. Okay, got that. Oh boy. Getting this all coming together. I used the last time I was painting to definitely get down there and kind of darken that up, so that way I don't have to worry about any light spots popping through. And so on this side, I just got to color in this little bit here. There we go, got that. So let those reds dry on there. And then now I'm actually going to bust out actually one of my favorite colors to work with. We're going to darken it a little bit. But I got some Vallejo model color. This is field blue. I like this kind of like it's a blue-gray color, and I got it all dried up, so I'm going to have to get in there and dig some of that out. There we go. See if I can free the flow up just a smidge. All right. Even if it's not going to cooperate with me tonight, I can just pop the lid off here. And drop a little down into my tray. Notice that I'm putting a finger over the nozzle just in case. There we go. That should get me by plenty. I see somebody else join the stream. Welcome, welcome. I say happy to have you along. And I say feel free to drop something in the chat just to say hey. And yeah, we try to just have a good time here. We're right now just working on this model, but you know, we always love interesting topics when they come available. And I know that recently I teased a potential topic of conversation, but only said that I would talk about it if I had people on the stream and only if particularly asked about it. Yeah, paint doesn't always go where you want it. Ain't that the truth? I was trying for one drop of that matte black in there, that field blue. That didn't work, so we're gonna try again. I'm just gonna grab a little bit from there. Grab a little more from here. And actually, I'm going to clean out my brush so I don't get that excess. That's a little better. Darken up that little bit. It's a little grayer than I want, so let's add, because I want kind of a little bit more blue in there. And let's go with just some straight dark blue. And yep, that one's going to be stubborn too. I don't get to use this color particularly as much as I like. Yep. I need to give it a little bit more of a shake than I thought. Excuse me. It's actually kind of nice having my voice back. I haven't had my voice working very well for probably a couple of weeks. All right, we're going to take a fresh brush here. Nothing on this one. I'm going to dip it in there and get a little color. I'll just use that to mix in. Yeah, that definitely does the trick. That adds a little bit more of a blue hue to it and darkens it up a little bit, which is what I wanted to begin with. Put that over there. Grab this guy. He's clean. Dig a little more this color out of there. Yeah, it definitely seems like something got dried up in there, so no big deal. I kind of had a feeling that could potentially happen. And yeah, I'm going a little, I'm getting a little extra on there. Kind of, yeah, figured as much. Just put some there. Be done with it. And kind of switch it around wherever I need it. Like I said, I don't use this color very much anyway. There we go. A little more blue on that one. That's what I wanted. Because with these, I wanted that nice kind of dark blue. And that will actually fade pretty good whenever I actually do my my washes toward the end. Because with these arm tubes, I kind of wanted a little, some blue and some red, kind of like veins a little bit. And this particular, that blue was pretty watery. So I don't have to worry too much about coverage. I'll probably have to go over here after this dries and do some touch-up work, which I had already figured was going to happen anyway, so it's not a big deal. There we go. And like I said, there were a couple areas I already knew that I was going to have to go back. Now I'm going to have to go back and do some touch-up for anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. And if you've seen any of my other content on this channel, I'm pretty easygoing, pretty chill. I like to, do the old Bob Ross. There are no mistakes, only happy accidents. I do this because I enjoy it, because I find it fun. And if I'm not enjoying it and I'm not finding it fun, then I'm just not going to freaking do it anymore. All right. So got those in there. Got some bundles of wires up in here. I'm kind of tempted to leave those mostly alone. But I think I'm going to get in there with a little bit of this dark gray. It's more of a very, very, very dark blue, but it's so dark that it's almost impossible to really tell. Actually, that works out just dandy. Get back in there and get some of that. There we go. Just getting some nice, easy coverage in those spaces. Okay. There we are. Coming along quite nicely. All right. So while those areas are drying, I think I'm going to work on these leg spikes next. I kind of been debating back and forth on what color and how to do those in particular, and these spine spikes as well, because I want to keep this kind of like dark silver on top, or kind of gunmetal more than anything. I kind of want to make this something slightly lighter for these. These are very dark kind of gunmetal. So we're going to try just like straight gunmetal. See what that gets us as far as how it looks goes. And I'm going to need a slightly smaller brush. I think this will do nicely. I got a little bit of paint that's gotten into these bristles. I need to break some of that up. Yeah, that's much better. I can get that in there and get all that excess crap built up, things out of there. Trust me, I understand. I used to agonize over color schemes for hours. Yeah. That is the hardest thing about minis, and I find that usually I kind of settle with like a kind of a base idea, and then I just say, you know what, I'll just do details and come up with all that stuff as I go. Specifically for this particular build, I wanted to kind of do something similar to what's on the back of the box there. It's mostly pretty, the same as what I already have on there, but stupid focus. Webcam never wants to focus on what I actually want it to focus on. So I'll try this. So yeah, that's better. So this is kind of what I wanted to originally go with. And then I figured, you know what? I'm going to add my own little details and flares to it as I go. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Mainly, so I also came into possession of some STL files for some, some mini prints. I don't have access to my own 3D printer as of yet, but I do have. My dad has one, and as soon as he can get his fixed, because he's got a scratch on one of the on the, I think the sensor or something like that. He got a scratch somewhere that's causing print problems, which is unfortunate, but I get it. Sometimes things happen during the print cycle, and really can't. You can account for so much, but you can't account for everything. So whenever that gets up and running again, I've got some files, some other guys similar to this one that I want to get printed, so that way we can have those. All right, so it's a very subtle difference in the color. This is just very slightly lighter than the original kind of metal that I had on here, so it gives it a little definition, but not like a lot, which is fine. I don't really want it to like jump out and strangle you and take your lunch money. I just want it to look slightly different. And excuse me for my cough, because I'm still in the process of recovering from COVID. And yeah, I avoided getting the shit for 3 years. And then suddenly, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I got it. And it was just like, God damn it. So I'm mostly okay now, but I had some serious issues with my vocal cords and everything. It's about the best that I've sounded in a couple of weeks. At least I sound like I'm not sounding like I want to just keel over and die now. Yeah, there for a while, it was pretty bad. You know what? The more I think about it, these have little wires on them on his spine here in this area, and they're not the spikes like they are up here. I kind of want to do those in copper. Sorry to hear that. And ouch. Yeah. Imagine streaming and you can't talk. It's a pain. So I know that in the last couple of streams I sound like I smoke 4 packs a day, but yeah. Thankfully I'm getting over it now, so I'm sounding a lot better. I sound semi-normal. All right. I'm thinking, because I think I want to do some more copper on this one, but I want to do it like on these little things back here on his spine. Maybe it's not going to focus. Oh, it is. So they're not spikes, but they kind of have like these little wire things that look like they're coming off of these. So I think what I'm going to do is do these up in copper and then hit these little wire bits with like some steel color or something like that, or some kind of metal color, because I think these would be something to do with like his power transfer apparatus or something like that, like goes through the body. I'm not sure. I'm kind of making things up as I go because Keith Baker, God love him, was purposefully vague in creating the Warforged and how they all operate and everything in Eberron, so that way DMs like myself could kind of make it up as we go and say, hey, well, they're in my world, they work this way. Like, it's kind of a cop-out, yes, but I see what you did there, and I see why you did it. I actually appreciate the lack of filling in the details there because it allows me to do my own thing. I think recently he said something to the effect that he was looking at getting off Twitter because of Elon, and I'm like, okay, dude, seriously? No, come on. You made Eberron, and if anybody like really knows that setting, it is not some put it this way, if somebody who really knows Eberron and kind of looked at it and go, you know what, this is definitely not a typical setting. He could have given a bit more direction though. Yeah, well, I like the vagueness in that case. Again, usually I fall into one of two camps on some things, especially with movies and that kind of thing. Like, I hate it when things are over-explained. Just sometimes all you got to do is tell us that, hey, this is a thing and it works. And for the sake of the plot, don't ask too many questions. I'm like, okay, fine. It's kind of like the Ghostbusters proton pack. I'm better off not knowing how that frickin' thing works because I'm pretty sure that at some point they would come up with some idea or say something that would make me like, okay, well, that's not realistic or feasible. And I know it's a fictional comedy movie, but there's enough grounding in that movie that I was like, I could kind of buy it. It's also kind of like how they used to do with the lightsabers in Star Wars. I mean, they're not like super. They don't really super explain how they work. It's just kind of like, it's a thing, and here's a power cell and a crystal and a thing, and whoopsie daisy, yep, you got yourself a lightsaber there. Again, I'm not going into details too much in that regard. I appreciate. How did Doc Brown create a? Make the all the time circuits and everything, and I know how he created the flux, came up with the idea for the flux capacitor, but never saw him build it. Never had to explain how everything works inside and out in the DeLorean, and I accept that because I don't need to know because it's there's enough information for me to grasp onto and go, I see what that is. I understand that. And I kind of get that, okay, it works. And it makes some level, however barely, of sense. So kind of the same way I feel on that one. There's a time to explain things in a narrative, and there's a time to just say, we're not going to explain anymore. It's just kind of, this is a thing, this is happening, and this is what we got. All right, go. All right. And I just remembered that I totally set out to do these leg spikes and then did the back spikes and then totally forgot about the leg spikes. Oopsie daisy. And as I say, a little dab will do you on paint. You really do not have to get a whole lot on here, especially for these kinds of small parts like this. You got to really work that brush control. Some franchises tend to over-explain and it ruins the fun. There's a reason we don't watch old NASA shuttle footage as escapism. Yeah. Yep, I get you right there. Sometimes we don't want to know how the sausage is made. Sometimes that excess information is not important to the story. And in fact, too much information can help lose your audience. As somebody who has done his fair share of writing, I can safely say that you have to walk that fine line between explaining too much and explaining not enough. Yeah, I was currently stretching my writing legs because like I've said before, I run a D&D campaign for a group of friends, and this is what this particular mini is going to be a part of for our next D&D session. There's going to be some interesting underlying facts that they don't know, and nothing I've talked about on stream because I want to keep the suspense. But again, there's things that they need to know, things that they would find find helpful to know. But I'm not going to make it immediately obvious either. You always have to leave some room for the reader's imagination. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely. I think that's something that's kind of lost on people these days because everybody wants everything explained to them. Everybody wants everything spoon-fed to them. And I grew up in the old generation of, hang on, porn bot. Yeah, I must be finally getting popular. I've got a porn bot. All right. Wow. Yeah, I must actually. I must be getting better at this YouTube thing because I haven't had porn bots before. I guess you kind of know you made it when. But yeah, I think something that a lot of writers today in modern media have forgotten is how to treat your audience as a person that actually has some level of intelligence. You know you've made it when you get a porn bot. Yep. Damn, that beer was good, and I just finished off the last of it. I guess I'll have to switch to cola for a while. Get a little soda ASMR going. Coca-Cola. Pepsi. Shout it if you catch that reference. All right. Anywho. Anyway, so as I was saying before, with that, you got to leave some room for the reader's imagination. What I specifically was getting at there is that I feel like it's become more and more of a lost art anymore. That a lot of these writers in like modern day media, they treat their audience like drooling idiots. They want to treat their audience with just this utter drooling contempt. You know, they kind of regard everybody that's not them or their inner circle as some kind of just knuckle dragging moron who doesn't know anything or can't keep anything straight. And I'm just like, you know what? Seriously, there's a reason why a lot of those old stories and things that we used to like, especially, something like in the news topically recently, like Indiana Jones. Something that immediately, I mean, I have no interest in seeing that piece of shit. But I will say one thing that I did notice very interestingly that immediately clued me in that this is going to be a giant fail was one line where Indy said, in the trailer said, "I don't believe in magic." I'm sorry, what? Indiana Jones. He has not single-handedly technically, but he has recovered the Ark of the Covenant. He's seen what its destructive power. He found the sacred stones in Temple of Doom, and I'm wiping on the name, my bad. And then he went and found the Holy Grail. And you're telling me that after everything he has seen, everything that he's done, everything that he's experienced, that he doesn't believe in magic? Bullshit. Load of horse crap, I tell you what. And this whole idea of doing time travel now, I'm like, okay, for crying out loud, people. You realize that when you start with time travel in a movie, you open a can of worms that you cannot easily shove back in. Yeah, Crystal Skulls. I don't even talk about that movie because that was such a shit show. But yeah, I have no interest in going to see it, and I've especially from what I've heard in the rumor mill. Honestly, if anybody has not already seen it, please go check out the channel for Overlord DVD. I know that his mask thing is a big turnoff for some people, and his style can be a little bombastic and a little silly, but he's got good information. And I've been following Overlord DVD since really right around before Last Jedi came out. And the craziest thing is that his track record of getting things right, is almost 100%. It's insane how right he is, and he vets his sources. Yeah, I already subbed to Doomcock. Hell. Now, if you want to see a giant fail, go check out Rings of Power. Do not mess with. Oh God. I have not seen that series. I refuse to see it. Frankly, I have only ever watched or cared to watch like one bit from that. Yeah, there's only like one thing that I. So, yeah, so there's only one bit from Rings of Power that I've ever actually watched or cared to watch. And, well, how about I just go ahead and risk it and just share with you guys?
Or are you a castaway, grasping for a handhold in a tempest?
There is a tempest in me. And it will not be quelled by you, Regent.
Perfect. Yeah, that is about as much Rings of Power as I ever have any interest or want to ever get into. Yeah. Yeah, Guy Ladriel sucks. So you want Galadriel, you go watch the original Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies, or you go back and you read the books. I'm a purist. That's just me. You know, I at first was willing to try and give it a shake, but then the more that came out, I'm like, all right, they're gonna fuck this up so bad. So all right, well, I have officially been going for an hour and 36 minutes. I think that's pretty close to the longest stream I've done. I think my record right now is 138. She ain't no Liv Tyler. Mm-mm. No, wait, no. Galadriel was. No, Liv Tyler, I thought was Arwen. I thought. Where's my keyboard? And I thought that Galadriel was, God, what's her name? Crap. I know that name. Kate Blanchett. Yes, that's right. Kate Blanchett was Galadriel in the original. Yeah, Liv Tyler was no bollocks. Come on. Yeah. Can't remember who played Galadriel, but she looked like an elf. Clark looks like a fat girl, a flat girl. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Can't argue with that. Yeah, Kate Blanchett actually, I mean, of course, she's a fantastic actress to begin with. Apparently, she was recently in some movie, Tar or Tear, I don't know. And they showed a scene with her in it. And, yeah, basically this kid, gets all like, goes all SJW on her because she claims, or that she says that, she really likes Bach. And, this guy's like, oh, I don't want to, and I was like, I don't listen to like cis white male composers. And then she like goes off on him and like gives him this long spiel, and it's actually kind of funny. And she just dresses this kid down. Yeah, pretty based, but then of course all of a sudden, I think I looked into some of the other information like on the actual production, and apparently she is the antagonist. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is actually like, this is actually what she said is true. And what she said is actually like, we should judge, composers and artists like on, on their quality of work, like what, how like good that they, what they do, and not just like, these, external characteristics, and stuff like that. As you said before, these people have no respect for their readers. Exactly. They have no respect for their readers, and they have no respect for history. They have no respect for anything but themselves. Yeah, man, it's sad, really. Yeah, because I mean, people can get their their underwear in a twist like all the time, and it's like, you can get all upset over just about anything, but you gotta like I've heard so many times before, you gotta take offense. You can't just like be given that. You gotta take offense. You gotta go out looking for that shit. Hey, I don't prescribe to that book. That's just ridiculous. And I mean, I love a lot of like really, eclectic artists. I mean, I love listening to like old school like Delta blues and that kind of thing. And if you know the history behind Delta blues and a lot of the, stuff like that, I mean, you gotta really. I don't know. I kind of got off on a tangent there. But yeah, I love a lot of like different artists from various backgrounds and all kinds of like different things through history. I mean, if I really don't care what they're making so long as it's good. It sounds good. It's got an interesting sound to it. If it's you know and I also love just people's culture. I just love to see what people do and learn about new cultures, that kind of thing. Let's see. Sorry, my handle's better than Megan Thee Stallion. Is that even a comparison? Does she even know women can't be stallions? Well, I mean, there were 2 chicks in Wild Stallions, but not really. I mean, if you go by the rules of Bill and Ted 2, maybe, but topic for another day. But yeah, I will listen to Handle over that. Megan Thee Stallion any day. I don't even. Oh, God. I have tried a couple of times to listen to like some modern artists and just see like what what's out there, and dear God. Oh boy, they did trash Bill. Oh boy, did they trash Bill and Ted. No, actually, so I have not seen the third Bill and Ted movie, Bill and Ted Face the Music. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet. I was literally just making a joke on the second movie, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Because in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the princesses are actually part of the band, and they are Wild Stallions, and it's fine. And of course, that movie came out in the 90s, so I mean, none of the problem content that we know of today. But I don't know about what they did there. I think, some folks have said that they actually did pretty well with the third Bill and Ted movie. I haven't, like I said, I haven't watched it yet. I have it. I need to sit down and watch it one of these days. Get ready for some WTF. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep on trucking for a little bit here. Looking at my mini right now, kind of trying to get an idea of where I want to go next, what we want to do, because we're about done. Right now, there's a couple of additional little bits and details that I want to do. You know what? As long as I'm sitting here, let's go ahead and hit those touch-up areas. So that way, because we've got the majority of this done already. Let's hit those touch-up spots. And then I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the wash. And here I'm just cleaning up a couple lines. A couple little areas where the paint got over a little bit. No big deal. So that actually just crossed into my brain that, talking about good entertainment and whatnot. Of course, I'm a big movie buff. I actually did some film work and stuff like that years and years ago. But one of my favorite movies, I actually just got the 4K new release So I will completely come clean and say I do not have a 4K TV or a 4K Blu-ray player yet. But the release that I got actually had the updated Blu-ray version of this as well, which is the main reason why I got it. I'm like, okay, one of these days I'm going to upgrade to 4K and I'll be able to watch this in 4K then because I have it now. But during that time, I still have my regular Blu-rays and all that, and the Blu-ray cuts that are on this 4K release are actually a lot better than what I had. So I got a copy of the 1995 like amazing techno thriller Ghost in the Shell. No, I did not get the live action crappy Scarlett Johansson piece of absolute garbage that was. No, I actually got my hands on the original. Yes, it is anime, but this is that I got into anime like in the late 90s and early 2000s whenever you still had like legit like good series coming out. You had Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star, had some of the newer Gundam series, or like the late 90s early 2000s Gundam series were pretty good. You had some real good series and stuff coming out and movies at that time. So I kind of got into it at the right time. And yeah, Ghost in the Shell quickly became one of my absolute favorites. Oh, that, yeah. Yes. So whenever they released this cut, it had of the movie. So it's the original theatrical cut of Ghost in the Shell. It's restored. They did frame by frame restoration. So it is looking gorgeous and sharp as ever. The original 1995 cut. And it just not only does it look fantastic, but you still got all of the classic Ghost in the Shell, like everything you loved about the original. If you want to talk anime, the original, Berserk, animation, musical score are both on point. I have heard a lot of people say that. Berserk in my area was not really very readily available at the time that I was really into anime and manga. So I never got the opportunity to check it out. But from what folks have told me, it is amazing, and I really want to check it out. Of course, my biggest hurdles right now are just time and money, as is with all things, And I just now noticed there's a piece of flash right down here that connects this foot and everything that is not supposed to be there. And we're going to have to cut that out. So, I'm going to do a little work there. But yeah, so I was watching the original Ghost in the Shell. Was it last night or night before? And just reliving that little point in my past, and so good, so good. The original cuts are just something special, and going back to what we were talking about earlier with smart writing, that is smart writing. That movie, if you've never seen it, do yourself a favor. If you have even just a Blu-ray player, I recommend going on Amazon and getting the 4K Blu-ray cut, because it has the 4K cut that has the additional Blu-rays and the digital copy. It is well worth it. And right now on Amazon, because of like the Christmas sales, it's only like $8. It's fantastic. So let's see. You can find a full episodes sub and dub on YouTube. Okay. Same with original Alita. I have seen the original Alita, and that was really good. I loved the art style and art direction of the original Alita. Battle Angel Alita is kind of an interesting kind of take on kind of a more classical story. And God, I'm trying to remember. It's basically kind of like, I can't remember the name of the story now that I've off the top of my head. Anyway, got that foot fixed up. Got that little section of that flashing cut out there. And yeah, I can't get it to focus right now. See if it does whenever I get this close to my face. If it will focus. Yep, there it goes. So yeah, there was a piece of like mold casting flashing that was under this foot and went all the way, pretty much all the way from the front of the foot there, where it kind of starts to lift up, all the way to the back of the heel, kind of like you see with this foot, the way it's supposed to be, and then this one was kind of lifting off. There was that piece of flashing. I had to go in there with the old X-Acto blade, cut that out, and then repaint it. Yeah, I didn't notice that until just now, and I'm like, you know what? I better go ahead and fix that before I get too much further. I'm used to having to do far more intensive repairs because I've also had to do. I also like to do resin model kits and like garage kits from overseas. Those you practically have to do some, weird fabrication, to get them just right. All right, so got that in there. All right. OCD for the win. Yeah. Amen to that. I gotta make it right. Make it the way it's supposed to be. All right, so we got some nice rock terrain down here by the feet. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I got a nice XF20 medium gray, nice little flat, kind of a tan gray. We'll kind of use that for our base coat so we can start building up from there and get that nice and pretty. And because this is such a wide area, I can use a nice larger flat brush. Mainly just trying to get the big, wide open swaths right now. And then I'll actually go back after the fact with a finer brush to get the harder to reach areas. Because of the surface area, I'm just going to get a nice glob there, and I can spread that out as I need to. I can get a little extra paint on the brush here. I'm not quite so worried about it because I've got a lot of surface area and a lot of nooks and crannies that I can get this worked into. And this XF20 is nice because with any of the Tamiya XF colors, they're going to be nice and flat. So you get a nice little matte finish. So that will take care of that. That gets rid of the vast majority of that surface area. Close this up. Give her another shake. Get a dab of paint solvent, and the bristles kind of help nurse some of that out. There we go. I'll let that one soak for a little bit. All right. And coming up on 2 hours, that'll be a new record. At least for me, anyway. Okay. We got that a little bit down there. Excuse me. I messed around a bit with those plastic Roman minis when I was younger. Talk about a hell on earth to paint. Oh boy, I can't even imagine how much an absolute pain in the ass those were. Are we officially at 2 hours? No, not quite. Not that I'm worried about being demonetized anyway. It's not like I've got any monetization at this point. I just want to be able to get wider reach to my algorithm if I can, although I probably shot that in the foot earlier on in the stream. In case I haven't, then we'll just see how that goes. I would love to get to a point where I can actually be monetized. That's for sure. Yep. Yeah, I kind of, I'm just now starting out really, and I'm still very new to all this. So, and I do this because I enjoy it mostly. Again, I wouldn't say no to the money, but the fact of the matter is I do this because I enjoy it. So I'm not too worried about that right now, especially. No sense getting all up and uptight and hot and bothered about stuff that, doesn't apply to you, especially doesn't apply to you right now anyway. There we go. And there we go. That's kind of my final approach to the subject to turn anyone to Yosemite Sam. Yeah, well, you know what? I do love, I love a good, chat, especially, on some fun, maybe even a little bit controversial topics. I don't shy away from it because I find that that's where the most fun conversations happen. There we go. I'm just touching a couple of things up here. All right. It's going to be temperamental. Tamiya is a little bit of an odd bird where it concerns paint. Usually use this for models, not so much of these minis, but it does come in handy occasionally. Excuse me. Yeah. There we go. The longest I've talked in probably 2.5 to 3 weeks or more, so yeah, kind of makes sense that I would sound a little bit scratchy right now. But all right, so I think we've gotten as far as we're going to get tonight on this. It is 11 o'clock Eastern time right now, and I still got to get up and go to work tomorrow morning. And because we are in the middle of, well, let's rephrase that. I am in the middle of my end of year closeout. I am trying to get a lot of stuff done in a not so long amount of time. I'm giving myself more time than I had last year, though. I accidentally didn't do my year-end closeout until like the 29th of December. My boss is like, hey, when are you going to get that to me? I'm like, oh, crap. But, yeah. And say, not too, yeah, I might just, scoot over here and play some more Star Wars Squadrons, because I've been trying to get through the story mode on that again lately, just replaying it, but all right. TNR. Okay, rest well. Good night, brother. You have a good one. And say, yep, it's definitely get some rest and say, see you tomorrow on Vices. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and close the stream out. Thank you again so much for watching, especially any of you who are new to the channel. If you like what you see, if you like what I'm doing, like the little ticker down below says, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And, go down there and hit that like button. Let me know that the content that I'm doing you like. I appreciate it, because every single one of those goes to helping me grow and, get more attention on my tiny little channel. So, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, come back Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and come hang with me and Kaiser Pineapple. Also, I regularly stop in at the chat over at Legal Vices and Flux. Kind of a lot of the folks in the LawTube sphere and just the LawTube adjacent, just kind of hanging out with folks. So, come hang out with us all. Again, my name's Kaiser Pineapple. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. I will see you all Thursday, when we will be putting some more time in on this guy, and we are getting very close to having this finished. I dare say we might be able to wrap it up on Thursday. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to try. All right. Peace out, guys. Take care. I'm out. Bye-bye.